Good afternoon and welcome to the afternoon edition. My name is Isa Nu. Today, we shall be focusing still on the issue of the business arena, most especially the issues surrounding the SMEs, and then how can we make regional bodies to be able to ferret through the present economic challenges that we are having in the country. But then, for so many people have also argued that SME still remains one of the most critical sectors for Nigerians to be able to go beyond or above the poverty line. So today we are having an expert here in the studio who is also the National Vice President of NASIMA to discuss this particular issue. But let me just give you a brief on what we shall be focusing on today. For the SMEs are essential drivers of economic growth due to their role in fostering innovation, generate employment, and promoting economic diversification. SMEs are often more adaptable and responsive to market changes compared to larger corporations, enabling them to cater to niche markets and local demands effectively. By tapping into local industries, definitely our economy is definitely going to boom. But then in all these aspects, you discover that there are so many challenges based on the present economic issues that we are facing in the country. Some people have said that the policies are not actually helping the local industries, and the local industries, who amongst them are also the SMEs, are also complaining that look, we are actually running out of our jobs. But then in this current economic situation, how do we manage it, and how can we get ourselves out of the woods in terms of this particular issue? And today we are having nobody but Chief Kola Akoshile, the National Vice President of NASIMA and former President Oduwa-Sima and Chairman Planning Committee of the 5th Odua International Trade Fair, who is here in the studio with us to discuss on issues that is as critical as SMEs, and also see the need for regional bodies to actually come up and strengthen the present economic challenges that we have. So we'll go on a very short break, and when we return, we'll be having this deep thought conversation with an elder statesman and also a business mogul.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
Welcome back from that break, and joining us now is Chief Kola Akoshile, the National Vice President, NASIMA. That stands for the National Association of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, who is here in the studio, and with his expertise in this particular field. You cannot discuss the issue of commerce and industry in Nigeria without mentioning this name. The name is as old as Nigeria itself. Chief, good afternoon, and it's indeed a very good time to have you in the studio today.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Now you are here, and being the fifth, being a member, the chairman planning committee of the 5th Odua International Trade Fair, you've seen what is happening globally, and you've also seen what is happening in this particular sub-region. But now let us downstream it back to our own country, Nigeria, where the president have exceeded more than a year in power. Looking at that particular space of the chambers of commerce and industry in general, would you say the president has fared well with respect to his policies and programs?
Yeah, over the past 1 year, I think we're going through some restructuring and realignment, and I think we're heading in the right direction, although with some pains. If you're going on the street and you're going to make a turn, you need to slow down before you make a turn. So we're expecting the turn now, and I think, in the coming days and months, we'll begin to see the benefits of this policy of government. Although with some little pains here and there, but I think it's better for the economy, in the long run.
Okay, now looking at all the policies that have been made so far, over time, experts have always come up with solutions. And one major solution that has always been on the table, I don't know if the regional government if we are going back to the regional government, but then we've seen document and hearsay on how the president seemed to restructure the whole system. Now, with this particular aspect of it, what does regional business mean to you as a professional in this particular sector?
Well, regional business means an aggregation of states within a particular region, putting the resources together to ensure that they have sustainable development. Rather than working in silos, we want to bring the economic advantage of each state and then see how we can operate within that region and maximize the benefits. So I think the parent government are looking at something in that region. You have regional commissions, you have NDDC already existing, you have NADC, North East Commission, and I'm sure that Southwest Commission is also in the offering. So I think they are moving in that direction to see that what are the things you can downstream. The regions are a big lot to the grassroots than the national, and then they can also work with the states and local governments to achieve the objectives of sustainable economic development.
So in this particular aspect, you still push, or you are calling on the president to actually go ahead with his ideology of creating a regional center for business to thrive.
Yeah, I think I will support that, seriously, because, like I said, you are downstreaming policies made at national level to the regions to operate. They know the region better, and they can implement some of these policies, and they also have access to the grassroots. So I think it's going to be better for policy to continue to be pushed to operations.
But some people have also argued that in the past we used to have this issue of regional government, and at some point it all became it was no longer there, and now why are we now still going back to what we've left over time? And that has been the major challenge. And people have also argued that yes, we understand that regions actually have their strengths and weaknesses, but you actually see the possibility of them networking to see that yes, the main essence of them having that regional stay or regional business can also turn around to be a national benefit.
Yeah, very well, because if you look at what the regions achieved in the past, if you look at Northern Nigeria Development Company, they achieved a lot. NNDC. If you look at Odua Investment, Western Nigeria Development Corporation achieved a lot. If you look at Eastern Development Corporation, they achieved a lot. But again, those achievements have fizzled out, and we're now beginning to look at if some of those achievements in the past are good, why can't we go back to them and then use modern technology to achieve better things? So I think the regions are in a better position to aggregate the resources and opportunities in these areas and bring the best out of it. I think it's the best interest of everybody.
But in this particular case now, I remember growing up, there was issue of you see the textile industry, you see so many industries in the southwest, but at some point you discover that they've all gone silent, and some of them are moribund now. Then even labor, how strong they were in government, and then how their decision also helped government to make better policy. When the establishment of this region come back on board and very strengthened, do you see our industries increasing in terms of their productivity?
Yes, like I said, the regions are not going to only come back, they're going to come back using modern technology, modern systems. So we expect to see, significant leapfrogging in the activities. For example, in the southwest region where we have Odua, you have Lagos at the market, you have the states, Ekiti, Ondo, Osun, you have various agricultural products can be processed for the Lagos market and not for export. So the issue now is using public-private partnerships to drive these things. Initially, it was essentially government-owned. Those regions were government-managed. But right now, we're looking at public-private partnership through, for regional development. And I think, we're going to be good for it.
Okay, let me quickly ask this particular question now. Looking at the youth population in Nigeria, a major demography, a defining demography for any serious leader. When we regionalize all these issues, and then we are also at some point discussing that, look, there's no need for us to segregate ourselves, but regionalism, don't you think it is going to actually affect us as a nation? Don't you think it is going to affect us? Because we have youth from the north going to the south to look for a job, youth from the south going to the north looking for jobs. Don't you think it is going to affect all this?
Well, I think the issue of regionalization doesn't mean going back to your regions. It is where you reside. I was born and bred in Kano, so I could operate in Kano as part of the region. So I don't have to be from that region. But if you are residing there, doing business there, then you can operate within the region. I think that's so it's not going to affect the national government of Nigeria. I don't think so.
So what major SMEs do you think should be something that can easily go into the economy and then help to also reduce the challenges that we have in currently?
Well, you see, SMEs cut across, board. Yes, the youth SME, the women, ICT, agri, and they are the largest employer of labor, over 90%, and contribute to the GDP. So if we develop the SMEs, then we'll be going a long way to improve the economy. So I think it's important for us to focus on the SMEs and look at what are the challenges. Multiple taxation, access to finance, access to markets, and I think these have been addressed gradually by SMEDAN, by DBN, Development Bank of Nigeria. We were there yesterday. So a lot of policies have been coming out to focus on the SMEs, and gradually they begin to get back, because initially the SMEs reduced in number, and due to the COVID crisis and then economic issues. But now, even if you leave employment, you're going to set up a small company, a nano company. So you're going to be part of the SMEs. So policies have been put in place to assist SMEs to develop, and I think it's good for us.
One critical aspect of these SMEs that we have in the country is that I remember in the last administration, there was so much focus in terms of getting them a corporate affairs commission registration, which is to bring them from the informal market to the formal market. And then looking at NASIMA, it has a very huge impact in the society. How far have you people related with some of these persons who are in this particular sector to see that you help them to boost their productivity?
Well, in NASIMA, that is the apex body for the organized private sector. Yeah. I happen to also be the chairman of the MSME trade group. So what we're trying to do is to, formalize, most of these informal sectors, working with CAC, working with SMEDAN, working with NDE. The issue is to bring them, have various MSME clinics. We had one, with the government in Benue, we had in Ekiti and Abeokuta. So when you have these SME clinics, you bring all the regulatory authorities together, and they can address the issues of these MSMEs, especially starting with registration. And most of them will tell them, okay, you can start with enterprise. From there, you graduate to a limited liability company. So we're beginning to see, some gradual movement from the formal sector to the formal sector, and that is going to be good for us.
For the Ministry of Trade and Investment, which has a very good relationship with your body, and looking at the international, do you think the SMEs have actually taken the opportunity of selling their trade beyond the shores of this country?
Yes, we're taking advantage of the AFCFTA, and the export, promotion agencies of, from NEPC and NEBSA. So the MSMEs are trying to, position themselves. But again, the first thing is satisfy the local market, because export also has a lot of intricacies, a lot of requirements, quality standards that they have to meet. So gradually, when we get our goods into the supermarkets, packaging and all that, they can begin to think of export. And I think we're doing some great job in exporting our products right now. And NEPC especially is doing very well in that aspect.
The free trade zone that people have always argued for, the FCTA that you've just mentioned, is it of advantage to Nigeria, looking at our strength in terms of the SMEs?
It's going to be a very, very good strength to Nigeria. We're talking of a population of about 1 billion. We are just 200 million plus. But again, if we don't manage very well, it's going to be a disadvantage. Nigeria will be a dumping ground. But from the way the manufacturers of Nigeria, the chambers of commerce, the government private sector are taking it, I think will be good for it in terms of exporting our products and services, to the African continent and to the world at large. I think at the end of the day, we will be, better for it.
Do you think the leadership of the country has done much to support manufacturing industry in the country in such a way that, yes, we can manufacture, we can consume, and we can also export?
Yes, I think the government is doing, pretty well. Though we've had some exits in terms of manufacturing, but again, some new people are coming in. And also, the exit by these big companies also create opportunities for local entrepreneurs to, step in, and bring the expertise and run, these companies. So I think we are beginning to see a gradual shift in something like industrialization, of these industries. So I think for me, the government is doing some good job.
Nasima have so many young Nigerians in it.
Yes.
Very enterprising Nigerians and the rest of it. But then when you also look at the comparativeness between Nigerians who actually want to invest or do their small business in the country, and also look at those you go out on the street and ask, would you like to stay and make money in Nigeria or travel out? You see many of them say no, they want to travel out. How can Nasima change that orientation, re-engineer the mindset of Nigerian youth to see the possibilities and the opportunities that lies within the country?
Yeah, the first thing we're doing at Nasima is to, first of all, adopt the rural-urban shift. First of all, people want to leave the rural area for the urban area, and then from the urban area, they want to japa, outside the country. So the first thing is to make the rural areas attractive. And with various, chambers of commerce, we have over 70 chambers of commerce in all the major cities. And so what we're trying to do is to promote activities, economic activities in those regions, so that you don't need to leave, your comfort zone or your local area to go to the urban area, and then even thinking of living in the country. So if we now operate in clusters. We have clusters, we have technology innovation centers all over the country. So we now find that youths are being encouraged, even agribusiness, which is a real, our industry actually. So when you now see that a youth is planting vegetables, making money, then there's no incentive for you to even migrate to the urban area. There's no incentive to even migrate out of the country. So the more we do that, the more they begin to see the benefits. And I think we're pretty on a good course on that.
But now that you mentioned a critical sector, but then when you make it very large, you discover that the issue of food insecurity has been a major problem. And Nasima has always been an industry where you have intellectuals like yourself trying to proffer solutions to this. What has your body done so far in making sure that, yes, majority of the SMEs in this particular sector, the agri sector, are actually dwindling? People can't go to farm. People can't get their harvest after even planting. And then you also have the issue of flooding and the rest of it. How has Nasima help this particular situation?
What we've done at Nasima is to look at the agri-value chain, first of all, because that is where you now get youth involved in various aspects of the value chain, from, even land preparation, seed companies, and all that. And then you now go into the production itself, then the harvesting, the logistics, So when you get youth involved with technology, you can begin to see that from the same size of land, you could get 4 or 5 times what you were getting before. So that enhances the productivity. And when you use the value chain approach, you can begin to see high productivity because you don't have somebody doing everything. There's a maximum to which an individual can do. But when you have combined resources, then you can see that the productivity is going to be very, very high. In terms of security, we are working with the state governments in our various locations in terms of various security network to make ability to go to the farm to be easy, and also to bring out the harvest. In terms of the bringing the harvest to the market, we're talking of rural roads. RAMP is working on that. World Bank RAMP project is assisting on that. So we are beginning to see a lot of improvements here and there. And now when you get to the market, how are you going to sell? What kind of market packaging? So in all the value chain, Nasima is actively involved in trying to ensure that we use latest technologies, latest ideas to improve the agribusiness sector.
Being the national chairman and also coming from the southwest region of about 6 states has enormous amount of youth, most especially youth from all the other regions. You see them at the end of the day in the southwest, probably due to peace and the acceptability of the culture of the people. Now, how can the youth in this particular region who are engaged with some of these SMEs make it look more of African, because you talk of the issue of packaging and the rest of it like that. And when you travel abroad, you discover people actually want to go to an African shop to get things done. And I discovered that Lagos, Abuja, seem to be one major center where things like this happen. In the Southwest, what are the new technology that you guys are putting up, most especially the Odua Sima or the Odua group, to see that yes, people or youth in this particular region are of benefit to their region?
Well, in the Southwest region, we have some existing structures. We have the Odua Investment Group, which is the holding company for investments. We also have the Odua Chambers of Commerce, which is the regional chamber of commerce, comprising of chambers of commerce for each of the states. So what we're trying to do is that we are creating various hubs, and we are creating these hubs in secondary cities. So not necessarily Lagos, Ibadan, Osogbo, Akure, Ado-Ekiti. So we're making them attractive, and various hubs. You could have Agri hub, you could have ICT hub, and we're going to see a combination of youths, showing some interest. Right now in Ekiti State, there's a training going on. About 1,000 youths are undergoing a training on ICT. So when you now do all this training and they set up these hubs, they are in their locality. So competition is reduced, competition is reduced, and they can begin to see increased output. And they can also be, outsourced to international agencies. So you can build a company to a home and be operating, for a company in the US, in the UK. So that's the kind of thing we are trying to do in the Southwest, which is working.
How have you been able to measure up with this particular issue of insecurity still within the Southwest, the Odua region, looking keenly? If you look at what is happening in the Northwest, in the North Central, banditry taking over farms, taking over mining areas, and as a result of the proficiency of our mines, you discover that foreigners are also invading part of our country. And just not far ago, just few months ago, you heard what happened. You saw what happened in Ibadan. I think Ibadan or Bomosho, somewhere around there, when there was an explosion. And this was actually due to mining activities or mine implements in those particular areas. How are you setting up a great agenda for the Southwest to see that, look, what is actually happening in other climes shouldn't happen within your region to safeguard your people and their properties?
Yeah, one of the things we are trying to do in the Southwest is this trade fair, which last held 10 years ago, where we want to bring, all the expertise and various industries together to look at issues of financial resources and, based. In terms of security, well, we know that security is the government's responsibility, but in the public sector, we're supporting government in terms of security trust funds in the various states. You know that Amatekun are operating. We also have the vigilant forces. So we have various security architecture, operating, and we also have sort of community policing. So all these are assisting to ensure that there's every peace, because when there's no peace, there cannot be any development. So we are what we're doing in the Southwest, and the trade fair we're trying to organize, coming up next month, we want to showcase, the agric resources and the natural resources. If you go to Igbeti in Oyo State, Igbeti Marble, abundant resources, but not utilized. So if you go to Elisha, you see Segilola gold mine, the largest gold mine. So here and there in the Southwest, we have a lot of natural iniquity stones, dimension stones can be polished to tiles. So we have all this in there. So we're not trying to showcase to the whole world that look, in the Southwest we have a lot of natural and solid minerals. So come and let us see how we can develop it. And that's what we're trying to do with the trade fair we're organizing.
Looking at the history of the Odua, Odua Sima, Odua itself, a very huge body full of intellectuals across the world, and still we are still having key issues in the country. Even in the Southwest, they also have their own peculiar challenges. Does this particular trade fair, does it also give room for people to actually discuss some of these things and the future of the Odua?
Oh, that's what the trade fair is all about. Bringing all the eggheads, all the intellectuals in the Southwest, both in diaspora and local, together for 12 days. Starting from the October 18th to 29th. It's going to be Ibadan, the traditional capital of Western Nigeria. So we're going to be in Ibadan. And what we're trying to do is to, look at what each state has. Come and showcase to the whole world what you have. If you come and showcase to the whole world, come and showcase. From there, you can begin to see, people taking commercial advantage of, what and what each people can do. In the Southwest, like I said, we have a large number of dams. Actually, the Red Dam is there, Ero Dam is there. We are talking about rain-fed. We should go. We want to move beyond, rain-fed, agribusiness. We want to go into 24/7. Use the dam for irrigation, and so they can produce, process, and market. So we're trying to showcase all this to the whole world. That look, come to the Southwest, you will enjoy doing business, you enjoy living. We're trying to have free trade zones. Various areas. We have Ilero free trade zone coming up. We have AB free trade zone in Ekiti. So we have all these, things that you can put together to ensure that the Southwest is a very good place to work, to live, and to play.
What do you think are the key challenges you may likely face?
Well, orientation. We need to change orientation. It's going to be a gradual thing. And that is why, it's not going to be, we're going to achieve it in one day, in 1 year. But when we start, like I said, this trade fair was last organized 10 years ago. And so you can imagine, people that organize it, most of them have, faded away. So the new people on board now are not, are in attune to this. So we're trying to bring back the consciousness. And then when we do it every year, it gains momentum, it gains traction. And then we can begin to see significant improvement in activities, economic activities, cultural issues. We have the Yorubas, we have Brazil, Cuba. We're trying to link up with all this so that we can bring, international development, to the Southwest.
Okay, thank you, Chief. We'll be going on a very short break now, and definitely we've discussed so much, and there are so much also that we still need you to respond to, and definitely we'll be having someone else also join us in person of Dr. Chinonso Stanley Ndukwe. I will be joining us just after the break. So we'll go on a very short break, and when we return, we continue with this conversation, managing the issue of SMEs and how we can boost regional businesses for the betterment of our people. Let's go for this break.
Thank you.
The challenge of Nigeria as a free state in 20th century Africa is the need to revive the stature of man in Africa and restore the dignity of man in the world. Nigerians believe passionately in the fundamental human rights. We regard all races of the human family as equal. Under no circumstance shall we accept the idea that the black race is inferior to any other race. I appeal to all our leaders, far and near, to forget the wounds which were inflicted in cause of our internecine altercations. The love of our country should outweigh the love of our petty selves. The enjoyment of individual freedom under the law should mean more to us than our self-centered party programs and manifestos. Common dangers and common enemies alert us on the need for common security. Come and join Abubakar with me, Sadauna, Awolowo, Akitola, Osadebe, Okpara, Ikoku, Aminu Kano, Ibrahim Imam, and Saka. Let us bind the nation's wound and let us heal the breaches of the past so that in forging our nation, there shall emerge on this continent a hate-free, fear-free, and greed-free people who shall be in the vanguard of a world task force whose assignment is not only to revive the stature of man in Africa, but to restore the dignity of man in the world.
Mr. President, last Saturday, the country which I have the honor to represent, the Federation of Nigeria, became independent and assumed the rights and the responsibilities of a sovereign state. Today, Nigeria has been admitted into the United Nations organization and assumes still more responsibilities. I wish to make our position plain beyond any matter of doubt as regards the African continent. We in Nigeria appreciate the advantages which the size of our country and of its population give us, but we have absolutely no aggressive intentions. We shall never impose ourselves upon any other country and shall treat every African territory, big or small, as our equal, because we honestly feel that it is only on that basis of equality that peace can be maintained in our continent. We in Nigeria are a populous country. There are about 40 million of us, and our territory is relatively large. we are willing to learn before we rush into the field of international politics. But we are totally unwilling to be diverted from the ideals which we think true. That is the reason, Mr. President, why we in Nigeria shall not be found to align ourselves as a matter of routine with any particular bloc. Indeed, I hate the very idea of blocs existing at all in the United Nations. It seems to me to be a contradiction in terms. When we hear the world crying out for peace, we may receive the inspiration to deal with these intractable problems and be able really to devote all our resources to the advancement of mankind by applying those eternal truths which will inevitably persist long after we ourselves are utterly forgotten. Thank you, Mr. President.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. Our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators, TV Channel 285, and
Welcome back from that break. And just before the break, I did inform that we'll be having Dr. Chinonso Stanley joining us to further discuss this particular issue and also see that, yes, at the end of the day, we have a very good understanding of the world system itself. And then Chief Kola has been giving us the best, being an expert in that field, a renowned person in that particular field, being a business mogul. Definitely, issues like this cannot skip his presence, and that's the more reason why we have him here. But then, Doctor, over time we've been having this issue. Do you really see this issue of regional businesses helping to alleviate poverty?
Thank you very much, Mr. Nuhu, for having me here once again. It's my pleasure to see your hands-on face.
It's been a while.
Yeah, yes. Frankly speaking, the issue of regionalizing business has been a trending factor in the developed society, and I'm very, 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 happy that the emerging market has begun to imbibe that trend. The fact is, business is not actually a one trend thing. It's not a one, you don't look at business as something that is very quite holistic. It's very broad. When we talk about regions, we know that there is no country that is homogeneous. There is no state that is homogeneous. Every region is peculiar to certain climate, certain cultural, development, certain belief systems. For example, in Benue State is part of the North Central. In Benue State, they have a climate that is conducive for yam cultivation, yam processing, yam businesses. Now, such a location, for example, should be rebuilt, revamped, rejigged to be able to cultivate more and develop into processing. The hub of business in the modern world today is processing. Our cocoa in the southwest region is being exported raw. Why don't we have centers where we not just refine the cocoa, we process it into coffee, into chocolate, into different products? By having such diversification, what do? We create more jobs, we create labor, and then become more productive. That automatically reduces poverty. Processing is why the US, the UK, Japan, and the Asian tiger, they are taking over the business world. That's why they're developed, because they are processing. So in Nigeria, for example, regional businesses will create regional processing centers for different commodities. By that, expanding the labor avenue, the labor sector, and improve standard of living, and also alleviate poverty. Our people are actually crying for what to do. That's why you see Apple, for example, has different centers, different sites in China, different regions in China that produce their battery, they produce their cases, because those regions have that level, peculiarities that can help them serve Apple well. And the major challenge we are having in regional business that is actually overlooked by the present government is the issue of energy, the issue of electricity. We are not creating different renewable energies that will boost regional businesses. A place like Ibadan, for example, now, there should be solar-powered processing cocoa centers that will be able to process the cocoa into finished product we can export and have more value. Such export will definitely create more wealth for the society.
But in Ibadan now, I think they have it. In Oyo State, they have some of this. If not Oyo, I think Lagos.
Yes.
But then, in terms of increasing the numbers of this industry,
yes.
How possible is it, Chief? Because one key aspect of this, and I see your passion for the Odua trade fair, one key aspect for this is that we also have political leaders,
yes,
who sometimes champion this cause. But then, when they have different political background, it also affects the aim or the objective of this particular issue. How do you see yourself managing it?
Well, in the Southwest, we have a Southwest Governors Forum.
Yeah.
So irrespective of which party you belong, they come together to discuss and implement issues of regional development. And so which party, anybody belongs, the first thing is regional development, sustainable development in the region. And we are looking at various agro-processing centers. We have the SAPZ, funded by African World Bank. Oyo State, and other states are involved. And what we're trying to do is to, localize these processing centers. For example, Oyo, Ogun State are very good in cassava. So you now look at the value chain, create sort of farm gate cereal processing, and they also have mega processing that will now take on, these products. So at that value chain, you create employment, you create jobs. People are moving in logistics, people are processing, people are packaging. But again, you don't move it too far away from them. So that will be localized, and that's what we're trying to preach in this trade fair that is coming up. Okay. Localize it.
Okay, before your presence, we had this conversation with Chief Corner. Looking at the youth demography, how do you see us taking advantage of it? Because now, even most of the youth, actually, they don't even want to go into some of these craft or some of these career path to see that, yes, they can be part of the productive base. And how do you see yourself re-engineering their mindset to partake in this particular kind of development within their region?
Thank you very much. It's a very beautiful question because our youth population, our youth demography is job hungry, ICT hungry, housing hungry, and possibly, should I say, education hungry. And they are not well educated enough. They are not well supported enough. To bridge this gap, the first thing is to see the value chain within these regional businesses. There are certain aspects of the value chain like ICT that our youth are interested in. Why don't we invest in creating apps that can be able to help us supply foodstuff, apps that can help us transport foodstuff from place to place, apps that can help us transform services and commodities, because in the value chain there are areas for services. The youth can also get involved in digital grinding machines that can pay them off on time. Chief talked about cassava. It's a woman that we have been trying to focus on her business in Nigeria today. She has been exporting about $8.2 million worth of cassava. She has been doing well in cassava. Now, how do we bring in youth into it? In the issue of logistics, there are certain transportation systems that can be able to adapt, that can be able to employ our youth to transport food from locations to locations. There's a good news recently. Tesco now is accepting food products produced in Nigeria. Tesco is the biggest food chain in Europe. Now, our youth should be taught on how to export, on how to be able to get their export licenses, export this product to Europe and make a lot of money. Such interest, such possibilities will get them involved in the value chain, and also help to bridge this issue of unemployment that is about 3%. We need to get them involved in creating apps, in transportation of goods, and also in exportation of the product. Possibly also in the issue of also agronomy. We have different technologies that can help us create new seeds, create new products. Our youths are innovating. They are content creators a lot. So we can also get involved in the issue of also creating content about food products, about localized food products, food made in Nigeria. Do you know that we have a challenge today in Africa and in Nigeria per se? We are always hungry about imported chocolate, imported food, imported this, imported that. We can support our youth to begin to create content on the betterment or the quality of what you're producing here, the quality of the rice you're making, the quality of the food we're doing here. Such is an avenue to get them involved in our business world.
In this particular industry of creativity,
yes,
of branding,
yes,
which is one of the major selling points of the West and
yes,
then the East, you also discovered that over time, Chief, yourself being an expert in this particular field, do you think our locals, the young ones, the ones that are inspired by what you at the top do you think they have more information or enlightenment with regards to how they can transform their product from the farm to the world?
Well, when you say they have, I'm not sure they have all the information.
Yes.
So that's what we're trying to create. Take for example, if you go to IITA, they have a lot of research findings. Now they are not being commercialized, so we are trying to sign an MOU with IIT to commercialize. Okay. So that will make these research findings, available to the youths, so that they can now I can transform this orange into juice. Okay. I can transform this cashew into this. Even cocoa can get cocoa wine. So all this is cashew. So and we have a lot of statistics in the banner all over the place. But again, the research results are just on the shelves. So we're not going to dust all this and say, look, now let us commercialize. Let us make it available to the youth. Come and talk to them. What do you have? What do you have? What do you have? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years we begin to pick this thing up. And then before you know what's happening, you are beginning to have a momentum, a traction, and the whole place will be booming. That's just what we're trying to do.
Okay, as part of your last statement, what's now your advice for the president in terms of the policy making, seeing him creating possibly creating the Ministry of Livestock Development, and we have a Ministry of Agri, we have the Minister of State, we have the Minister General. So what is your advice? How can he be able to champion this cause in such a way that people at the local level can actually benefit in transforming this country?
Yeah, when we say livestock, people think it's only cows.
Yes.
But it cuts across, exactly. So I think it's a good thing. The issue is to focus, on that particular area of agribusiness. If you look at Lagos, consume probably 10,000 cows per day, move from the land. So look at the whole value chain from Sokoto, transportation, offloading, unloading, blah, 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 and then so you can see, if it's now very focused on and with technology, then you can begin to see improved economy, because livestock now we're still doing it in a normal way, but we now have improved breeding. For chicken, for pigs, for cows, you begin to see that, we begin to process. The United Arab Emirates, they need, processed sheep. It's part of the livestock. So you can begin to see people, having a sheep farm, process them and export. So we have, right now we don't have any developed beef industry in Nigeria, so that's what you can also develop from the livestock ministry.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So your last statement, please, with regards to the SME and how the youth can actually analyze this particular.
Now, my last statement is going to be focusing on just even the FCT.
Yeah.
We need to have regional businesses. We have enough land that could create possibilities for our regional growth in terms of agro-business, in terms of ICT, and even in hospitality. We need to be able to localize, look at locations that will fit certain buildings, certain structures, certain farms, and invest in it. Make sure our youths are encouraged to be part of what is going on. Because when we create a youthful economy, we reduce crime, reduce insecurity, reduce banditry, and we see an FCT that is booming, that is lively, and is highly very productive.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chinonso and Ndukwe, for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
It's nice also having you on, Chief Caller.
Thank you very much.
It's a delight listening to you, being a father and a role model in the society.
Thank you.
We always appreciate your presence. This is how far we can go today on the afternoon edition, discussing issues regarding to SME and how we can boost our regional government in such a way that, yes, we will feel secure. Is very important for our society. My name is Isa. Have a wonderful day and stay blessed.